We are recording.
Yes.
This is Chapter DH's Zoom interview on 8/29 with Georgia Lujan. Did I say that right?
Lujan.
Lu? Okay. And her grandmother said that she would be interested in a star recommendation from our chapter. And she was kind enough to send us an overview of where Georgia is in life and her resume. So with that, I'm going to ask Kiki, we commonly know as Karen, you give us an overview briefly.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, she's one of the kindest people I've ever met. She is extremely intelligent. She works very, very hard at school. Anything she commits herself to, she works hard for it. I mean, she's had jobs since she was 15, I think. She's very dedicated to her family. She's funny. She is very athletic. She played soccer up until she was a sophomore, I think. And then she hurt her knee, so she quit playing soccer. But she's probably the most athletic out of my 6 grandchildren. But anyway, she loves to read. She just delves into all of her studies. She wants to be an entrepreneur, have her own business someday. Yeah, I mean, she can expand on that, but okay.
So you got injured.
Mm-hmm.
What did you switch to?
Most of my time, I got a job after I got injured, but most of my time was spent towards school because at that time I was in all advanced classes and school was really demanding. And I was also involved in extracurriculars like National Honor Society.
Feel about the injury?
Hmm?
How did you feel about the injury? That can be kind of changing.
Yeah, soccer has been a really big part of my life. My whole family plays soccer and loves soccer. I was really upset about it because I did a lot of physical therapy, but it just was hard to play after that injury.
Could you say you channeled or you focused your energy on something different than soccer?
Yeah, a lot of my energy went towards getting work experience before going to college and learning to balance my time. Every adult I've talked to said if you can balance a workload on top of school, then college will be a lot easier. So a lot of time went towards that. And then extracurriculars as well. Like I've joined DECA newspaper, Make-A-Wish Youth Leadership Council. I started chapter of Equal, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff if I was still playing soccer.
How did you get involved with Make-A-Wish? How did you get involved with Make-A-Wish?
So my grandpa was actually really involved with Make-A-Wish before he passed away. That was a big part of his life. And shortly after he passed away, we were actually at a soccer game for my brother at a rec center, and a teenage girl around my age had a booth set up talking about Make-A-Wish's Youth Leadership Council. And I asked her how I could get involved because it just is a really special way for me to feel close to my papa and do really fulfilling work and community service. And I just applied along with 90 other kids in the state, and 35 got in, and it was probably the highlight of last year for me.
Why?
That's cool. What a tribute to Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to Kiki.
Yeah.
It is a great way to remember a connection with him.
Mhm.
Why was it the highlight?
Last year was a very challenging year for my school community as a whole. We had to deal with a lot of losses of the student body, and those meetings were monthly, and every month, like something would have happened at school, and I'd go to that meeting and I'd leave so excited to do the activity of the month, which is like one of them was Make-A-Wish partnered with Macy's, and we were supposed to get kids to write letters to Santa. And for every letter we wrote, Macy's would donate a certain amount of money. And so just getting involved with your community and getting kids to write those letters and just knowing that it's a part of something bigger than yourself is just really fulfilling work to do. And it just made me really happy. And I applied again this year, and I have an interview coming up in September.
Cool. Very nice.
Thank you.
I'm of course making notes. It's just so you know, I will not force anybody. Sorry, I won't let you see it very well. I won't force anybody to read my notes. I don't see, because I have the daisy up. I won't. But I'm looking for things that you say sparked and led you down a path that will let me write a narrative that will hopefully reveal, who you are, what influenced you. And actually, when you talk about the injury in soccer, sometimes things happen in life, and while I'm sure you laid there and thought, my life just changed.
Yeah.
But it really is when a door closes, perhaps another one opens. Some people say maybe it's a window and don't jump out. But it does take determination
Mm-hmm.
to say things have changed in my life, but this is not the end.
Yeah, it's really easy to just sit there and wallow, but a lot of good came from me getting involved in other aspects of my community and opportunities available to me. So it wasn't great in the moment, but things turned out good.
Tell us more. So that's a really good line. Not great in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But tell us more about what else came out of that.
Talk about equal.
Oh, so every month at Make-A-Wish, they would have guest speakers come in and talk to us about either ways to do better fundraising, public speaking, because that's a lot of the work we did at Make-A-Wish was advocating for them. And one of the guest speakers actually went to a high school in my district. He's at Harvard now studying economics, but he started a nonprofit called Equal, which is dedicated to overcoming student homelessness. And at the end of his meeting about just how to fundraise and things like that, he said that if anyone wanted to start a chapter like in your community or at your school, you could. And I got into contact with him after and started a club in Centennial. And we've had 2 meetings so far, and we have our next meeting in September. And most of the time we're working on fundraising ideas to give out in scholarship money to students who are experiencing homelessness and want to go to college, and doing community service awareness campaigns, because there's over 22,000 students that are homeless in Colorado currently, and there's not a lot of or there's not as many services in place to accommodate those students. So that's what Equal is.
Talk about the paths and what happens when somebody gets awarded some of this scholarship money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what happens next for them?
Yes, so depending on where they go and what they want to study, they get paired up with a mentor that Equal has found, and that mentor will help them all throughout their college experience and is experienced in whatever field they're studying. That's one of my favorite things that Equal does, because a lot of the time these students are first generation students and they need a little more support than the average student would. So that makes sure that like they don't just get into college, but they succeed and thrive in college.
So participation in Equal is something you want to continue.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I'm the president of it and have two sponsors that are two of my teachers. But I hope when I leave that someone in the grade younger than me, because I have multiple grade levels involved from my school at Eagle Crest, I hope someone could continue equal centennial.
Have you identified anyone to mentor in that respect? Possibly.
Yes. My friend
Good.
Audrey has been really involved with helping me plan meetings and just if I have an idea, I'll bounce it off her. And she's a junior this year, so she'll be a senior, and I think she would be a great president next year.
Good. I just got off because my camera was going crazy and it was driving me nuts.
It was driving me nuts too. Yes.
Yeah, I figured, and I figured it wasn't good for recording. Linda, chime in and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Linda Clayton, and I'm new to P.E.O. But the last STAR scholarship that we had, I just entered all the data in the computer and made sure that everything was good and sent to the P.E.O. International.
Which is
Awesome.
probably why we got it, because it all got inputted. Be nice to her, Georgia. Be nice to her.
Switch a little bit and ask you what you know about PEO.
I know that PEO is focused on mainly community service, education, and helping women.
What says your grandma told you about PEO, that she's been in it forever?
Yeah.
Not forever.
I would describe PEO as it's interesting, the number of members who say they were very attracted to its focus on women's education. Not to say men don't deserve to be educated, but this is really a focus on women's education and on a lot of different levels of their education too, on undergraduate, graduate, and some technical studies also. There's also a lot of socialization that happens at meetings. And there, when I first joined, I was still working, and I would say, I'm leaving for the afternoon. I'm going to my women's education group because my description was, it feels a little like chicken soup when you go to a meeting. Particularly then I'm going to brag on Joan in the meetings that she runs. I believe everybody leaves feeling better. That we talk about young women who are deserving of our support, like we're exploring with you now, and support for other members who are in the group too. It also allows for women who their lives may be very busy when they have kids and they say, I can't participate in every meeting, but sometimes things in life change. For example, very similar, there's a soccer injury. You can sit and wallow in it, good word, but you can choose not to do that also and say, what else am I going to do? And so there are women that are active in PEO and leave for a little bit, and so it ebbs and it flows and comes back in. That's a little bit about PEO. They do a variety of different scholarships. They also do grants. It's an old organization that was formed by 7 women who were, these are my words, they were not made part of a sorority on their campus, an undergraduate, and so they formed their own, and it still is surviving to this day. So talk to me about one thing that you felt you've been the most successful with.
I think I've been the most successful with adapting. When I was younger and up until about my freshman and sophomore year, I wanted to be a professional soccer player, and soccer took up all my time, took up all my family's time, because that was my goal. And every college I looked into was about soccer. But everything I'm involved in now, I love just as much, if not more, than I loved soccer at that time. I go to bed every night really tired from, the homework, but all of the classes I'm involved in now, I really enjoy, like newspaper. Um, but just finding interest while still making time for my friends and my family, um, that was really hard to do after facing the loss of soccer, basically. But like I said before, it turned out really great.
That attitude will take you far.
Thank you.
No kidding.
Running into a wall when something goes wrong and picking yourself up and saying, wow, okay, there's a message in this, I can do something else. Talk to us about something that was very challenging, that frustrated you, and how you worked around that.
Last year in school, like I said, there were a lot of deaths within the student body. I knew a few of the students who passed away, and I didn't feel much support from the school or staff or anything like that. And but how I got through it was making sure that I supported my friends and they supported me, and just making time to not only do like school stuff and stuff I need to do, but things that help kind of recharge me as well, like reading, writing, things like that.
Where is your happy place to go mentally?
Mentally?
Grandmother.
What?
With her grandmother.
Yeah, I love Kiki.
Good answer.
Yeah, my happy place genuinely though is with my family. That's where I feel the most comfortable and just can be myself. And I have friends who have really horrible family situations, and they just make me more and more thankful that I have so many supportive people in my life who I am related to. So that's why I see it.
And grandma.
And grandma.
And I think that attitude also, you've learned probably younger than I was probably, how much support you need in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly a theme in P.E.O. It's the support of each other and the sisterhood. And it doesn't matter how long you're gone, you take a break, you're busy, you're working. If you come back to a meeting, I would have to say, and I think Kiki would agree with me, it's like you never weren't there.
Right, exactly.
There's always somebody who has their arms wide open, gives you a big hug and says, it's so good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important in life all along. Friends are important. Family is important. Support in general. And you're lucky you've learned that early, because you'll do really well then.
Yeah.
Because there are bumps. Unfortunately, there are bumps.
Yeah.
So you can minimize them a little bit if you have good support with you.
Yeah.
Linda, got any questions?
Sorry?
Ask us
Do you
questions.
have any questions?
What have you learned most from P.E.O., from being involved in P.E.O.?
I think you know what I just learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
I've
still learning.
Oh, go ahead, Linda. Go ahead.
I'm still learning.
I don't think we ever stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I experienced exactly what Joan was talking about, because when I joined, I was working all the time and I made very few meetings and events and stuff. But then once I retired, I was able to, participate a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is a sisterhood. I mean, you're just really supported. And I've needed a lot of support the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
And hopefully it was there, and
Yeah.
I think that helps. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
And those of us who grew up without biological sisters, it's nice to have a sister.
Yeah. Georgia, talk about your bake sales that you did.
Oh, starting in 2020, and up until last year, I did 3 bake sales. The first bake sale was for the charity, the Black and Brown Founders, which works towards income equality and getting Black and Brown entrepreneurs the funds they need to start their own businesses.
Um,
Um,
how much,
that-
how did you get the stuff for the bake sales? What were the results of the sales?
well, my parents and I like bought the supplies ourselves, but we raised over $1,000 to give to the charity.
Last summer we baked.
Yeah, last summer and the summer before, we did the bake sales for our family friends, the Belos, their daughter Danny, who is a friend of mine, and Kiki and my mom were all really close with. We did bake sales for to help with her medical bills. And we raised the the first time we did it for them, it was like over $1,500. And last year, by ourselves, we raised like $1,100. And
Wow.
one of Danny's mom's friends reached out to my mom and said she wanted to match what I made. So we were able to give her like $2,000 that year.
So
Wow.
what is the total of all 3 years? Like $4,000?
Yes, around there.
Wow. So what was the best seller?
Cookie bars, which is
Did you
actually Kiki's.
homemade cookie bars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kiki, do you know how to make those?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Secret,
yes.
tell her the secret ingredient.
Not
Imperial
yeah,
margarine.
margarine. Yeah.
It was my mother-in-law's recipe, and
Yeah.
swore that the margarine made all the difference in the world.
Wow,
Aha,
that's a cool little tip.
that is. That's cool.
Where,
Made to
where
order,
did you,
Kiki?
yeah, where did
We're gonna do
you,
those for made to order.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Maybe Georgia could help you bake.
good. Maybe she could.
So we do a fundraiser, which Linda Clayton, as our treasurer, will collect all the money from it. And there are baked goods, there are some other things that go into it also. And that money that we collect, then we decide which of the P.E.O. projects will it go off to. One of which that we've made donations has been the STAR each year.
Oh, nice.
So how do you, so you do all this baking. How do you sell these goods? You knock door to door or to the school or?
Sold them by just putting up a low for.
Say that again, you gotta,
Okay. Is it working now?
it's working now, yeah.
Okay. So I would tell all of my friends when the bake sale is like weeks in advance. I'd have Kiki tell her friends about it, and I'd have my mom tell her friends about it. And obviously had Danny's parents put something out about it. And we also put posters up throughout the community, like near where I was set up, and people would just drop by. And I did it right outside our community pool during the summer. So
Nice.
we made a lot of money just off people wanting something to eat after going to the pool.
Hungry swimmers.
Yeah.
So on your, there's something on your resume, it says, National Honor Society volunteered at community events. And can you talk to that a little bit?
Could you repeat that?
On your resume, it says under National Honor Society that you volunteered at community events.
Mhm.
Can you talk to those?
So we would have throughout the year, we just had to help set up for certain events with student council. So I helped set up and make pancakes for the veterans on Veterans Day. There was like a breakfast. What else did we do? At Smoky Hill, one of their students actually passed away, so we made a bunch of
Oh,
teachers. And they're
say it again, we got frozen again.
oh, at Smoky Hill, which is a school in our district, they experienced a loss too. So me and other NHS members made like cards and letters to give to their student body. What else did we do? For my
The Veterans Breakfast is a good citation.
okay, awesome.
So I'm curious, you said that, or it says here that you do teaching high school peer tutoring.
Mhm.
Are you still doing that?
No, I only did that for a year, but I really enjoyed it. And one of the girls who I tutored, I actually still help with her schoolwork today, and she's a year younger than me. And I think she'll be the first person in her family to go to college if she
Wow.
graduates.
Well, write
What
down
were
her
you-
name. Maybe there's another STAR scholarship in the workings there.
What were you tutoring her in?
Pretty much everything. She comes from a very troubled home and she had a lot of behavioral issues. And for whatever reason, they paired her up with me to just like get her grades up however we could. And by the end of the year, she wouldn't work with anyone but me. So we just worked on mostly her English credits so she could graduate on time. But by the end of the year, we got most of her grades up to like C's and B's. And before she was just failing all of her classes. So
Wow.
she
Good
can
job.
graduate. Yeah,
Good job.
it was a lot of work.
I think probably your listening skills were helpful also. That when
Yeah.
you focus her on studies, that coming from her background, having someone who would listen
Mhm.
was very helpful also.
Yeah, no one in her life really was there to tell her that education was important. And she actually planned on dropping out, but luckily that did not happen. And she still goes to Eagle Crest.
Good. Good job.
Yeah.
That has to feel good.
Yeah, it felt
Really.
really great.
So that's a good lead in, Joan. Tell us an activity that makes you feel the best.
I really like to write and read just because it's really calming. Just journal and stuff like that because I've been journaling since I was younger, and reading is just, I don't know, it's like a little escape, and I like to read new stories. And when my grandma said I want to be an entrepreneur, I actually want to open my own publishing company.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's important that I continually read and write. And that's actually why I'm on newspaper. I'm the editor in chief this year because obviously you have to be a really good editor to be a publisher. So stuff like that makes me feel good, not only because I just like naturally enjoy doing it, but I know I'm doing something that will help me in the future.
And what do you see yourself majoring in?
I would definitely major in business and maybe minor in English. And that way, if I change my mind and don't want to end up opening a publishing company, I can kind of work pretty much anywhere. But right now I'm actually doing classes at this Cherry Creek Innovation Campus, and by the time I graduate high school, I'll have my associate's degree in business.
wow. Good job
You
for
said
that.
business major and
Laura.
what else? I wasn't writing fast enough, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Business major and
Minor in English.
English is such a wonderful language. I just wish more people would use it. I don't know if you've looked at text messages lately, but I don't know what these abbreviations are. And this entire audience here is not going to know what, when you send a text message and it's a U and R.
Yeah,
uh,
that's an interesting way to spell it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So English is a beautiful language, very definitive about how you can describe things. You know, women know the difference between if you're angry versus mad. There is a difference. Men don't understand.
Well, there's actually a big I did a project on just publishing in authors at the Cherry Creek Innovation Campus, and 80% of published authors are men. And
Not fair.
yeah, so I would like to do something about that if I open up a publishing company.
Okay, that's a good line too.
Yeah, you probably can't say I'll only publish women's work.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely
you get
not
in
gonna
trouble
say
for that one.
Yeah.
Let's do something to get more women published.
Yes.
There you go. That's a good one.
Who is your favorite author?
Ooh. Well, when I
That's
was
always
younger,
hard.
yeah, when I was younger, the whole reason I got into reading was because of Harry Potter. I
Good.
was really into Harry Potter, but now my favorite author, that's really hard. I like Donna Tartt a lot. The book I'm reading by her right now is called The Secret History. It's about these college students, and it's kind of like a coming of age book, and it's really good so far. It's just really long.
Try War and Peace. I can sum it up. It's Russian. It's a tragedy.
Good to know.
In the winter.
In winter, yes.
Yep. Lots of description about snowflakes and snow and cold and icicles.
That's funny.
Not that you shouldn't read it.
Yeah.
Literature is important to society, I believe. Because I'm a history major, so we read lots of long things.
Sure.
But I think it's a noble goal to say business and English, that they're interested in perhaps opening your own publishing company. It doesn't mean that stays your goal forever.
Right.
You will be asked many times, what's your goal? What do you want to major in?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels easy to say this. At this point in my life, it's very similar to say, what got you reading? Harry Potter got so many people reading across the world. That is a good thing. That there aren't any more Harry Potter books, so you got to switch to something else. But your flavor changes a little bit. That's good too.
Yeah.
And there is a book club in P.E.O. They are avid readers. Everything they can get their hands on.
Yeah, I wish more people my age read. I think things would be different. Right
Well,
now.
they do. It's on this. It's on this thing.
Yeah.
Everything you need to know. It's on Instagram.
Oh gosh.
I did have a friend once who said that she didn't have internet, so she's getting her news off Facebook. And I thought, I'm going to hide
Oh dear.
Scary.
Wow.
That's scary.
That is scary.
It is scary. So, well, I've got lots of pages of notes. I thought I'd end this video now and then give you time off recording to see if you had some other questions.
Okay.
Me too.